Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're really getting into something fascinating in the tech world, Apple's big move into artificial intelligence. It feels kind of quiet, but very strategic.
Yeah, definitely strategic.
For years, Apple's whole identity was built around that, perfect walled garden, the amazing hardware.
Mm-hmm.
But how does a company that's all about control, about physical devices, tackle this huge, open, data-hungry world of AI? That's the real puzzle we're looking at.
It's a huge question. And in this deep dive, we're going to unpack Apple's very specific approach, this privacy-first on-device thing.
Right.
We'll contrast it with the big competitors, the ones going all in on the cloud. The mission really is to figure out if Apple's legacy, their massive financial power, and their, well, let's call it deliberate pace, is that enough?
Enough to dominate the AI future, or even just stay relevant.
Exactly. We need to look past the announcements and see what's really driving their strategy.
Okay, so to really get Apple's AI plan, we kind of have to start with Tim Cook, right? He's the one who's been quietly setting the stage.
Absolutely. You can't understand Apple now without understanding Cook's impact.
Since he took over from Steve Jobs back in 2011, Apple's growth has been astronomical. It's a multi-trillion-dollar giant now.
It's staggering.
But it's not just the money. Though the money is, wow, it's his leadership style, isn't it? It seems to underpin everything they're doing, especially with AI.
You've hit it exactly. Cook's leadership, it's this blend of incredible operational skill and strategic patience. He came up through operations.
Right, the supply chain guy.
A supply chain guru. Post-1998, he completely rebuilt Apple's manufacturing and supply chain. Famously said, inventory is fundamentally evil.
I remember that quote.
And he wasn't kidding. He got inventory turnover down to just 5 days.
5 days? That's insane.
It's unbelievable efficiency. Think about the capital that freed up, billions, which then got plowed back into growth, R&D, the long game. That operational mindset, it's still there. It affects how they approach AI development, deployment, everything.
5 days. That discipline is incredible. But he's not just about the numbers, is he? He seems adaptable, too.
Oh, definitely. He's shown amazing strategic flexibility. Look at the big product launches under his leadership. iPhone X, Apple Watch back in 2015, AirPods.
Yeah, game changers.
They weren't just new gadgets. They fundamentally expanded the Apple ecosystem, created more reasons for people to stay locked in. And his style is very collaborative, very values-focused.
Yeah, ideas together approach.
Exactly. That whole your idea plus my idea is better thing. Plus, his commitment to diversity, inclusion, you see it in the reports, and sustainability, aiming for carbon neutral by 2030.
That seems important, building that trust.
It's huge. It's not just talk. It's woven into how they operate. And that builds a brand people feel they can trust, which, well, that matters a lot when you start talking about AI and data.
And that trust, combined with that legendary patience, seems crucial for AI.
It is. Vision Pro is the perfect example, right? That took, over 5 years from prototype to actually getting it out there?
Yeah, a long time.
That kind of long-term bet, ignoring the short-term noise, that's only possible because of the financial powerhouse Cook built. It gives them the luxury, you could say, to play the long game, to wait until they think it's right.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the financial side, the numbers are just, they're mind-boggling. It's not just growth, it's like a rocket ship.
You're not exaggerating. Market cap went from around $377 billion in 2011 to, what is it now, $3.86 trillion.
Unbelievable.
And think about those milestones along the way. $1 trillion in 2018, $2 trillion. Just 2 years later in 2020, $3 trillion in 2023.
And the forecasts keep going up. $4 trillion next year. $5 trillion by 2026.
The projections are certainly there. And this isn't just paper wealth. We're talking like $108 billion in free cash flow, $100 billion share buyback program.
That gives them options.
Massive options. Strategic flexibility. They can pour money into AI R&D, snap up interesting AI startups without blinking, handle market ups and downs. It's a huge advantage.
So it's not just about being wealthy. It's a strategic weapon in the AI arms race.
Precisely. And this is where Cook's ethical leadership that focus on values becomes a real competitive edge. Think about it. Apple already had this strong commitment to user privacy before everyone started freaking out about AI and data.
True. It's been part of their brand for ages.
So they're positioned as this trustworthy innovator. In a time when AI raises so many privacy flags, that existing trust, built over years, That's incredibly valuable. It's not just a marketing slogan they cooked up for AI. It feels baked in.
Okay, let's pivot a bit. Let's talk about Apple's past glory, the core strengths that built this empire in the first place. It's really interesting how these historical pillars are directly shaping their AI strategy now. We have to start with the hardware, don't we?
Oh, absolutely. Hardware is like the soul of Apple. It's the foundation for everything, especially their AI moves. It's not just the iconic designs, remember. The really big strategic move was bringing chip design in-house.
The M series chips?
Exactly. The M1 chip in 2020, that was a watershed moment. Yes, amazing battery life, killer performance for Macs, but it also saved them like over $2.5 billion a year in costs.
Wow.
But the key thing for AI, these custom chips have dedicated neural engines. They're specifically built, optimized for AI tasks. That gives them a massive leg up for doing AI processing right there on the device, something a lot of competitors just don't have integrated that deeply.
So the hardware isn't just running AI, it's designed for AI from the ground up. But, it's not just hardware anymore. Services are enormous for Apple now.
Huge. Cook very deliberately diversified their revenue streams by massively expanding services. It's become this incredibly strong, recurring source of income. Think Apple Music in 2015, podcasts back in 2012, iCloud even earlier, 2011.
And the TV stuff, the
Yeah.
movies.
Right, their own content studio, getting award nominations. And the App Store, I mean, just look at the numbers, 12% year-over-year growth in June 2025. What's really healthy, though, is the mix within services. Gaming share actually dropped a bit, but things like productivity apps, photo video, education, utilities, they all grew.
Spreading the bets.
Exactly. It gives them more touch points with users and a really stable financial base to fund all this AI work.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting and maybe a bit controversial sometimes. This whole idea of the walled garden. It's so fundamentally Apple, but what does it actually mean for their AI plans? Is it purely a strength, a weakness, both?
It's definitely a bit of both, a double-edged sword for sure. Understanding the walled garden is critical to understanding their AI approach. It's basically their closed platform system, right? Tight control over software, strict security, a really consistent user experience across all their devices.
Like iMessage working perfectly, Apple Pay.
Exactly. That seamless integration, iMessage, Pay, App Store, iCloud, it works brilliantly if you're all in on Apple, much less so if you're using other devices. And that control builds this massive distribution network, over 2 billion active devices now, 1.5 billion iPhones alone.
That's huge lock-in.
Incredible user lock-in, which, let's be honest, translates directly into those high profit margins, like the 30% cut they take from App Store sales.
So on paper, that sounds like all upside. Total control, huge user base, tons of profit. Where's the potential downside for AI then?
Well, that same tight control that ensures security and consistency, it can also limit user freedom. And maybe more importantly for AI, it can potentially stifle innovation coming from outside developers.
Oh.
In the AI world, especially with these big language models, things like collaboration, sharing huge data sets, working with external systems, that's becoming really important. A closed system, well, it naturally makes that kind of open collaboration harder.
So they have this tension.
A fundamental tension. How do they keep that privacy-focused, secure, walled garden, which users value, but also tap into the open, collaborative energy that's driving so much AI progress? It's a balancing act.
So putting it all together, what does their actual AI strategy look like day to day? It doesn't feel like they're just trying to copy Google or Microsoft. It seems different.
It is quite different. Their core philosophy seems to be deliberate, privacy first, and on device. They're not really trying to build the biggest, most powerful AI in the cloud for everyone. They want to create personal intelligence AI that's deeply woven into your own devices, your own experience.
Right, contrasting with the big cloud model.
Totally. Their Apple Intelligence Framework they announced in 2024 really shows this. It's designed as a hybrid system, multi-layered. It basically figures out where to run an AI task based on how complex it is and, crucially, the privacy implications.
Okay, can you break that down, like what runs on my phone versus somewhere else?
Sure. So for things that need to be super fast and super private, think real-time translation when you're talking to someone, or maybe suggesting smart replies to your text. That stuff runs entirely on your device. The AI model is right there. Your personal data never leaves your phone or Mac.
Okay, that makes sense.
But for more complicated AI stuff, tasks that need more processing power, they use what they call private cloud compute.
Right, heard about that.
It's basically secure processing in the cloud, but, and this is the key part, they use heavy-duty cryptography. Your data is anonymized, encrypted, and they say explicitly it's not stored after your request is handled. The goal is to give you cloud AI power without you having to give up your privacy.
That's a pretty clever approach to threading that needle.
Yeah.
And we're starting to see these features actually appear. Yeah, it's not just theoretical.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's being integrated all over the place. Siri's getting reimagined with generative AI. It can even tap into ChatGPT,
Yeah.
but only if you explicitly say, okay.
User permission is key.
Absolutely. Then there's AI-powered search in Safari, trying to make you less reliant on Google, adaptive battery optimization in iOS 19 using AI, system-wide writing tools, proofreading, rewriting, summarizing text right within apps.
And the fun stuff too, the Genmoji.
Right. Genmoji lets you create custom emojis just by typing a description, and Image Playground for making unique images. They're also giving developers tools, this foundation models framework, so they can build AI apps that are private and can even work offline.
Interesting. And they're partnering up too, not just building everything themselves.
Yeah, that's quite pragmatic. They've got deals with OpenAI for ChatGPT access, deals with Anthropic, Perplexity, even regional players like Alibaba in China for that market. But they're also clearly planning to invest heavily in their own proprietary AI models down the line. It's not an either, it's a mix.
Which brings us to the big battlefield. In this massive AI fight, how does Apple's unique, maybe more cautious strategy really stack up against the other tech giants? The Googles, the Microsofts, who seem to be moving so fast.
It really is a clash of philosophies, isn't it? You've
Huh.
got Google, which is just fundamentally cloud first, all about scale. They're pushing Gemini 2.5 Pro everywhere, aiming for that assistant layer across everything search, Project Astro with the camera.
Everywhere AI.
Pretty much. Then Microsoft is laser focused on productivity, the enterprise market. Integrating OpenAI's GPT-4 deep into Microsoft 365, putting Copilot onto, 1.6 billion Windows PCs? That's their angle.
And Amazon, they're playing a different game with AWS.
Totally different scale. Amazon's strategy is just pure cloud AI dominance via AWS. They're spending insane amounts, like $100 billion a year on AI R&D. They poured $8 billion into Anthropic. They're building their own custom chips, the Trainium 2.
They control the whole stack.
End-to-end control. From the silicon right up to using their own warehouses as giant AI labs, sentient warehouses, they call it. And then you have Meta, right? Hiring top AI talent like crazy for their superintelligence labs, spending tens of billions on infrastructure. Their approach is more open source with Llama, aiming for wide adoption, but how they'll really monetize all that AI is still a bit fuzzy.
So compared to all that, Apple's approach feels almost careful, cautious. Is that a luxury they can afford in this race, or is it risky?
That really is the central question, isn't it? It might seem cautious, maybe even slow to some, but I think you have to see it as a very deliberate long-term strategy. While others might be rushing models out the door, Apple's holding back, prioritizing their own, often stricter quality and privacy standards.
Trust over speed.
Essentially. This focus on privacy-preserving AI, running on your device whenever possible, carefully integrated. It's about building lasting user trust. As generative AI gets more powerful, and frankly, as people get more worried about how their data is used, that measured, trust-based approach, that could end up being Apple's biggest competitive advantage. Maybe it's not about being first or loudest, but being the one users trust most.
Okay, but every deep dive finds some bumps in the road. Apple, despite all its power, must be facing some serious challenges in this AI race too.
Right.
What are the big ones?
Oh, absolutely. No company is immune. One of the loudest criticisms is that perceived AI lag, right? And Siri's history, let's be honest, it hasn't always kept pace.
Yeah, Siri's been a bit behind rivals like ChatGPT.
Exactly. And pushing a major Siri update back to 2026, while it shows their commitment to quality, it also highlights how long it can take them. Then there's the talent war. It is fierce.
Right, losing key people.
Yeah, like Rooming Pang, who led their foundational models team, jumping ship to Meta for reportedly tens of millions a year. That's a big deal. Meta, Google, they're all throwing money at top AI researchers. It makes it hard for Apple to retain talent and maybe forces them to outsource more, which could potentially challenge that privacy-first stance if they rely too much on partners.
And they've always got regulators watching them closely, I imagine.
Constantly. Antitrust is always a shadow, especially as they try to lessen their dependence on Google search, for example.
Yeah.
And the global market isn't uniform. They need separate deals, like the one with Alibaba in China, which can complicate creating a single, seamless global experience.
Any other hurdles?
Well, there was that controversial Apple AI study suggesting reasoning models struggled with complex puzzles. The pushback was immediate critics argued it wasn't the AI models failing, but maybe Apple just didn't have the massive GPU clusters needed for that kind of cutting edge testing. It hinted their own internal hardware infrastructure might be a bottleneck for certain types of high end AI research.
Interesting. But okay, flip side. Despite those hurdles, Apple has some incredible opportunities here, leveraging its unique strengths. Where's the biggest potential upside?
They are incredibly well positioned in some key areas. First off, hardware upgrade cycles. AI is going to drive upgrades. The iPhone 16, expected this fall, September 2025, is likely the start.
The AI iPhone.
Pretty much. The AI-enabled models will probably cost a bit more, maybe $15–20 extra. But the key is, many of the best AI features will need the newer chips A17 Pro or later. That means something like 70% of current iPhones out there won't get the full AI experience.
Thirsting upgrades.
Compelling upgrades, let's say. Estimates suggest that could unlock around $150 billion in new iPhone revenue over the next 3 years alone, just from people upgrading for AI.
Wow, $150 billion. That's massive. What about on the services side? Can AI boost that growth too?
Absolutely. Think about features like Image Playground, the Genmoji creator, those smart reply suggestions. They're all designed to make you use your phone more, engage more deeply. That could easily pave the way for new premium subscription tiers. Maybe an Apple Intelligence plus Socian for advanced AI features.
Another subscription.
Potentially. Also, by offering developers things like zero-cost inference, basically letting their apps use Apple's AI on device for free, they could encourage a wave of exclusive AI apps just for the App Store, which of course drives more App Store commissions for Apple.
And underlying all that is the trust factor again.
Always. That privacy-first stance isn't just marketing, it's a real draw for a growing number of consumers and businesses who are wary of how other companies handle data. It builds loyalty, makes the walled garden stickier. It's a powerful differentiator in the AI age.
So the market seems a bit divided on Apple's AI prospects. And then there's this huge looming question, leadership succession. How does that whole situation factor into their long-term AI future, especially whenever Tim Cook decides to step down?
Yeah, Wall Street is definitely watching that closely. You see mixed signals. Some analysts are pretty bullish, giving Apple high AI scores, like 8 out of 10, setting price targets up in the $230–260 range. Big investors, the institutions, they seem to be holding steady or even buying more.
But not everyone's convinced.
No. Others point to Apple's earnings growth, which has been, well, slower lately, snail's pace, some call it. They worry Apple's valuation might slip compared to companies really riding the AI wave hard, like chipmakers TSMC or Broadcom.
Right, the company supplying the AI boom.
Exactly. TSMC's AI revenue is projected to grow incredibly fast, like 45% compounded annually. Some forecasts even see them or Broadcom potentially surpassing Apple's market cap by 2030. And maybe Wall Street's initial kind of lukewarm reaction to Apple Intelligence was based on underestimating the power of on-device AI or worrying too much about tariffs.
So definitely not a clear consensus. And the succession picture sounds like it just got murkier.
It really did. Jeff Williams, the COO, was seen by many as the most likely internal successor, at least for an interim period.
Okay.
But he's retiring at the end of 2025.
Takes him out of the running.
Pretty much. The new COO, Sabi Khan, he's 59. He's definitely capable, very experienced in operations, but maybe older than the board ideally wants for a CEO expected to serve a decade or more.
So who are the front runners now?
The names you hear most often for the long term are John Turnus. He runs hardware engineering. He's only 50, which is a big plus. And Craig Federighi, head of software engineering, who's 56.
The software guy versus the hardware guy.
Kind of. Turnus is often called the CEO in waiting, largely because of that age advantage. Though there's been some quiet criticism internally, apparently, that maybe he needs to be more assertive and that he wasn't deeply involved in huge projects like the Vision Pro.
High stakes for whoever takes over.
Immense stakes. The next CEO has to navigate this incredibly fast-changing AI landscape, balancing Apple's traditional strengths, hardware, ecosystem, privacy, with the absolute need for aggressive innovation and adapting to a more open AI world. It's one of the toughest CEO jobs out there, arguably. So, wrapping it all up, you've got Apple standing on this incredibly strong foundation. Its past success, its financial muscle, that's undeniable, and their AI strategy, this privacy-first, on-device approach, it definitely offers a unique selling point, tapping right into those growing user concerns about data and trust.
A real edge, potentially.
Potentially, yes,
Yeah.
but they absolutely face hurdles. That intense competition for AI talent, the inherent limitations of the walled garden in an increasingly open AI world, navigating those requires real skill, real agility.
So ultimately, Apple's future dominance or even just continued success in AI, it feels like it's not just about having the smartest tech. It's about whether their specific formula, that mix of tight control, that focus on privacy, that patient, long-term view can actually adapt fast enough. Can it keep up with a world that seems to value openness, collaboration, and the sheer speed of iteration more and more? What do you think? What's going to be the single biggest factor that decides if Apple wins or loses in the AI era?